today and I did get the package. Wondering what it was? It was basically a time-lapse camera. It was a long time coming. I wanted to get one last year, you guys remember? I'll talk a bit about it later. I guess first, with that in mind, what did I read today? How about this first one? When it comes to things like drones, usually you'd think of places like US and China going at each other. But this one here says Turkey has a secret weapon that worries superpowers like US, China, Russia, and Israel. The deadly weapon is, what, this drone here, for example? I believe I did read about this before too. It says in the 1990s, Turkey, called the sick country of Europe, expressed its desire to buy Heron UAVs from Israel. Then Israel had said that it would give the drone to Turkey, but Israeli pilots would operate them. This pricked Turkey, and as a result, Turkey began to develop its own drone and set up its own drone industry. Also, it wanted to reduce dependency on military drones from other countries. That is a topic in general in terms of security issues for things like drones when it comes to being reliant on other places, like with that recent news, for example, with Skydio and all that. It says now Turkey has done wonders and has gone miles ahead of many countries of the world in terms of military drones. The U.S. Center for New American Security recently released a report which states that Turkey has overtaken world leaders like America, China, and Israel in terms of drone technology and supply. This exploit of Turkey has surprised the world since 2018. Turkey, China, and the United States have jointly sold drones equipped with 69 types of weapons to 40 countries. Turkey alone accounts for 65% of the sales of military drones in the world, with China accounting for 26%. And the US lagging behind with only 8%. Experts say that Turkey has focused on promoting its domestic defense industry, making Turkey a leader in the market of military drones. It makes me wonder too, is this a situation where everyone's fighting with each other and then you have this one guy just standing there saying open for business, so they seem the most neutral so everyone buys from them? Is that a factor? Is that the demand for Turkish attack drones is increasing all over the world because Turkish drones are delivered cheap and fast. Turkish drones have good firepower. These drones are being used in many countries like Ukraine, Libya, Iraq, Syria, and Azerbaijan. In addition, the success rate of Turkish drones is quite high. Missiles can also be installed in them and they hit the targets accurately. Well, that's not a surprise in terms of, again, people profiting with military drones and all that. I guess it's just surprising in terms of who came out on top, according to this anyways, if everything is accurate. And then how about this one in terms of taking drones out of the sky again? It seems like these are more brute force types of techniques. This one here says Navy enhances drone defenses with successful shoot down by new missile. The Royal Navy has enhanced its ability to thwart drone attack after helicopter crews downed a pilotless aircraft off the Welsh coast. In the first air-to-air trial of its kind, the crew of Wildcat used the Martlet missile designed to take out enemy surface targets to destroy a Banshee jet flying at hundreds of miles an hour over the Bristol Channel. The helicopter operates from Royal Navy frigates, destroyers, and aircraft carriers, performing a wide range of key roles from supporting board and search operations and tracking down drug runners moving at high speed across the ocean to terrifying troops, equipment, and personnel around and conducting rescues when necessary. Thanks to two new missile systems, Martlet, which has been in service since 2021, and Sea Venom, successfully tested earlier this autumn, it can also take out hostile ships. And there was videos and stuff of it too. Again, there wasn't any radio jamming technology or anything like that. It's basically just taken out by brute force, I guess you could say. And with all this news of war and stuff like that, how about something fun? This new hardware I got, it's a time-lapse camera. I wanted to get this last year, if you guys remember, where there was so much delays and weird stuff happening with the manufacturer. So I actually scrapped that and I decided to wait. And I saw one from this company that actually sounded really ideal in terms of what I wanted. This one here is called the ATLI ATL4500. It's a dedicated time-lapse camera meant more for construction, I believe, but it does shoot in things like 4K. It's supposed to be semi-good during nighttime because it actually uses things like a Sony Starvis sensor, and at the same time it's meant to be outdoors for a long time in terms of the cold, withstanding rain and all that. And it actually has a backup battery. Depending on the setting, it seems like it could last for well over 15, I guess, to 20 hours or so without an actual dedicated outlet. So with this time-lapse camera, what I originally wanted to do was capture what the day could look like, rain or shine. It'll be kind of interesting if it starts pouring rain, snow, and so forth. And why this one actually got me interested as well is because normally my thought was to buy, let's just say something like a GoPro or something like that, but then you'd have to find so many ways to try to make it last. Give it an external power supply, give it extra covering or something like that when you put it outside. Whereas with this one, it seems like you could actually just do everything that I need for the most part. You could actually run everything remotely, which is actually what I've been doing. Because you could just take, for example, the time lapse, it saves it in a video format, or you can actually get individual photos, but the files get huge. And with that, you can remotely download it. So I was like, wow, that's great. You don't even have to maintain this really. It's more about whether or not you want to move the positions in terms of where you want to film. Now, why I thought a time lapse in particular would be good too is because I thought that would be great in terms of the perspective. Seeing the weather, for example, come in, or times when there's like things like a northern lights or something like that, you just don't expect it, and perhaps this could capture it as well. And at the same time, if I really wanted to, I could actually bring this to places if I wish. It's not actually that big, and it has the backup battery and all that. The only issue in general is, okay, where do I place it? Because you don't want to place it just randomly anywhere, correct? And then someone will take it. So it's more about finding, for example, places or people that I know where I could actually set it up and capture a unique perspective. Now, obviously the quality isn't going to be like a high-end mirrorless camera, but in general, from what I've seen so far, it actually works pretty good, especially during the nighttime that I've been able to quickly test it. One issue that I've seen so far, which could easily be fixed, I would imagine, with things like firmware and all that, is depending on the time of day, obviously you want different camera settings. You could set it on auto, for example, but I found when you set it on auto, especially during times at night, this thing tends to bump up the ISO a lot. And with that, the picture gets really grainy and I don't want that. So I did set it to manual, which is great when you do that, but obviously, you're not going to sit and look at that camera all night. You're going to go to sleep, for example. So imagine capturing a time lapse during the nighttime, and then in the morning, you have these set settings meant for nighttime. Everything looks blown out, correct? I was hoping you could actually set it in a way where keep the ISO, for example, at only 100 and change the shutter speed. There doesn't seem to be an option to do that. It's either full manual or full auto. So hopefully they can actually fix that in the future with some kind of firmware. But overall, it seems like it's a pretty decent solution so far. So this will be kind of like when I first flew the drone. I'm gonna practice this every single day because I have to learn the techniques too on how to capture the best time lapse in terms of settings, what direction to go with. Because right now too, with one angle I have in a certain area, I could capture things, for example, like the trees, the building, and some traffic, but I could actually change it to other places where you would see primarily the sky. So hopefully you could capture things like a sunset and sunrise in a more, I guess, dramatic fashion. So it's a new skill to try every single day. Again, I was actually intending to do this last year in terms of the changeover per se, creatively and all that. But at first I have to get used to this to see what I can and can't do. So I got about, what, like 2 months or something like that before the new year too to experiment. Feel free to give me any feedbacks and stuff like that in terms of my angles and so forth, the way I'm shooting it. If you're more knowledgeable about stuff like this, either way, I thought it would be great fun too, and it gives a different perspective. See you guys later.